For some time now, I remember I didn't make any video about book recommendation, although someone reminded me a few months ago, because I had to go through something very personal happening to me, and amongst many books I could recommend to you, there is one which was happening to me during the month of February, and today or tonight, as you can see in this video, I will tell you about the book The Lover by Marguerite Duras. And this book was published in 1985, and it's describing Saigon in 1930s. Poor French girl, she's 15 and a half, meets all of the sudden rich Chinese guy. And people who read that book fall in love with that book immediately. First time I had the chance to read it, I was 15 myself, and then for the next 20 or more years, I have read it many, many times. It was so easy for me to take her style, to steal her writing style, and so many stories I written in my past were directly stolen from Marguerite Duras and her style. She jumps from one theme to another, but everything is connected, and the book is very small, very thin. You can read it in 1 hour or 2 hours, but this book became the world, I don't know, most known love story of written by the end of 20th century, and I can only read you some pages of it so you can get her style. So I'm 15 and a half. It's on a ferry crossing the Mekong River. The image lasts all the way across. I'm 15 and a half. There are no seasons in that part of the world. We have just one season, hot, monotonous. We're in the long, hot girdle of the earth with no spring, no renewal. And the whole book holds this tone of desperation, of wet summer and everything, but I will read it several pages after. The elegant man has got out of the limousine and is smoking an English cigarette. He looks at the girl in the in the man's fedora and the gold shoes. He slowly comes over to her. He's obviously nervous. He doesn't smile to begin with. To begin with, he offers her a cigarette, his hands trembling. There's the difference of race. He's not white. He has to get the better of it. That's why he's trembling. She says she doesn't smoke, no thanks. She doesn't say anything else, doesn't say, leave me alone. So he's less afraid. He tells her he must be dreaming. She doesn't answer. There is no point in answering. What would she say? She waits. So he asks, but where did you spring from? She says she's the daughter of the headmistress of the girls' school in Sadek. He thinks for a moment, then says he's heard of the lady, her mother, of her bad luck with concessions that they say she brought to Cambodia. Is that right? Yes, that's right. You can see from her writing style, she's very raw, very rudimentary. But that doesn't take off any charm of this book, because she will grab your attention, and through those raw lines, short sentences, short descriptions, you will be hooked in this book, and you won't let it go. Never again shall I travel in a native bus. From now on, I'll have a limousine to take me to the high school and back from there to the boarding school. I shall dine in the most elegant places in town, and I'll always have regrets for everything I do, everything I've gained, everything I've lost, good and bad. The bus driver I used to laugh with, the old woman chewing betel in the back seats, the children on the luggage racks, the family in Sadek, the awfulness of the family in Sadek, its inspired silence. So she's a poor girl. She is dressed in her mother's old dress, and she has those old golden dancing shoes, which were the cheapest item on the last sale, and she has a man's hat on her head. And this rich Chinese guy steps out of the limousine, and starts to talk with her. They meet. He offers her a ride to the school, and she accepts. And then the story begins. On one side, she's afraid. She's treated like white trash in that part of Indochina. And he is rich, but he's Chinese, and he has a certain fears around white girl. And in some strange way, the love starts between two of them. She becomes his, you could say today, sugar baby, but she's not a sugar baby. And at one moment, her family goes through horrible economic crisis and bad moves her mother makes. She doesn't have a father. She has two brothers. A younger brother will die. The older brother will gamble and throw away all the wealth they had remained, and they will be very, very poor, and her mother will be on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And then she found out that her daughter is with a rich Chinese guy. And I can only read you that part of the book. There's a sudden terror in my mother's life. Her daughter's in the direst danger, the danger of never getting married, never having a place in society, of being defenseless against it, lost, alone. My mother has attacks during which she falls on me, locks me up in my room, punches me, slaps me, undresses me, comes up to me and smells my body, my underwear, says she can smell the Chinese scent, goes even further, looks for suspect stains on my underwear, and shouts for the whole town to hear that her daughter's a prostitute. She's going to throw her out. She wishes she'd die. No one will have anything to do with her. She's disgraced, worse than bitch. And she weeps, asking what she can do except to drive her out of the house so she can stink the place out anymore. She can't stick the place out anymore. I don't know how other people react to this book, but I had some hard times in my life too, and I could identify myself in the position of the white trash. And as I told you, for many, many years, I have read this book in Serbian and English over and over again, and it was so easy for me to slip into her writing style, to copy her, to steal from her, to do everything. And then all of a sudden, at one period, here in Belgrade, Serbia, some marketing campaigns were going on, and two big companies started selling books cheap on street kiosks. And then I saw for very cheap money, because I had to lend this book from many libraries for the past decades. I saw this book in the window of the street kiosk, and it was very cheap. I didn't have money for that. I had some money for food, but I said, "What the heck?" I was hungry many times before. I will have my sacred book and with me, and I brought it home. And my daughter was very young; she was 5 or 6 in those moments, and she asked me, "What is the book about?" And I told her, "That's just one love book." And no, no, I didn't. I lie. I'm lying right now. I told her that's just one book. But a few years after, I took to read this book, and I was each evening I was reading any child's book or adult book to my daughter, and at one moment I said to myself, okay, she's 9 or 10 years old now, I can read her this book. And I started reading her this book, and she told me the first impression she had was, hey, this book is odd, this book is different. You said to me that this is a love book, but no love, not the word love is ever mentioned here. And I said, okay, but do you think this is a love book? And she said, yes, it is, from the first to the last page. And then I read to her and read to her. I was afraid she wouldn't understand the structure of the paragraphs and the system the book is created, but she got it phenomenally well. And to my surprise, because she didn't like to read books on her own, she loved me to read her books more. I found her that she's taking this book and carrying the book with her and read it in buses and waiting places and everywhere. So a few years ago, I ordered from eBay English versions. So in the end, we have three Marguerite Duras, The Lover, one Serbian book, and two versions in English, one for me and one for her to practice her English. And I was amazed how she was touched by this book and how she was very sad reading this book. And whoever was lonely, hungry, poor, badly treated, mistreated in life, can identify herself or himself with the main character in this book or with the rich Chinese guy. And this is one book I will recommend to you all by with all my heart, no matter are you a man or a woman, a young girl or the old man, old woman, it doesn't matter. This is one short but explosively packed book about loneliness and about love and about some things that could have been but could never have been. And during this February, I've told you this book was only on my mind because this story finally happened to me. I've crossed the Mekong River, as you can see in my video, and I was in a big black limousine with a rich Chinese guy. And due to some language obstacles, I was in a position not to talk so much, and I was very, very enjoying those moments when we were traveling in his car, and I could hear Chinese voices from the phone, from GPS system and everything when night was falling. And in the distance, I could see the city like millions little stars, and I enjoyed tremendously. Uh, 2 times in my life, I had a white baby Siberian Shepherd dog in my arms, and that was, I could say, the best experience in the last 20 years I had. So, as this young woman, I was dining in the finest restaurants, and I was driven in the best SUV black limousine BMW, if that matters at all. No, I won't start to cry now. No, 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 I won't. No, I will poison myself instead, light a cigarette. And in the end, as you can see, I'm left with the lilies and some luxury gifts I have received. And for the whole 2 weeks, I had those lilies to admire them and to think that this is the best gift I could ever received from any man. So, if you read The Lover, you will understand some sort of the differences between white people and Chinese people, and then you will understand, yes, there is fear on both sides. There is this economic difference between people, but I will never forget, and I will never tell you how the book is ending because I will leave you to find that out for yourself. In any case, you will enjoy this 1 hour or 2 hours of reading the best love book in the world. There is no, I don't think there is one word saying that it was love in that book, and there was no one word spoken about love between me and this special man, but in the end, everything revolved around that. And as I said, no, I won't cry. I will enjoy a last look on those flowers I received from him. And in the past 15 years, I have learned some very important thing. You'll never know when you will die, and you should grab everything you can from life. And if a Chinese guy stops in front of you and invites you in his black limousine, please don't refuse him. As one of my acquaintances from China, Lin, told me, every girl should have her Chinese guy, and luckily, there are more than enough on this world. And I can tell you one thing, if there are billion Chinese men in this world, uh, I will remember just one, and I will never forget that one man, not other billions.